It's a cloudy day in Tauranga, so what better thing to do than hike up a giant hill and talk about fragrance terms, more specifically related to performance. Hey, what's up guys? This is James from the channel J-ROYL. Today is about royal rules. Now these rules aren't set in stone, but they are my biggest suggestions and tips when it comes to fragrances. Today is all about fragrance terminology. And with these terms, you may have heard them a lot in my video and some other videos on other channels, which you should totally be watching as well, because the fragrance community is pretty awesome here on YouTube. But the thing is, not everyone here on YouTube is all into the fragrance community and is probably not familiar with a lot of these terms. So today I wanted to go through a couple of them with you guys, just so we're all on the same page when we're throwing out words like sillage and projection, longevity, all that good stuff. Can I get a thumbs up, guys? Nice. Alrighty. When we're talking about a fragrance and the quality of a fragrance, what do we really mean by that? Yes, quality can mean the quality of ingredients put in, but when most people talk about the quality of a fragrance, they tend to mean the smell of the fragrance and perhaps the performance of the fragrance. Now the smell part is pretty self-explanatory, but performance can sometimes be a little bit complex, especially for people that aren't really familiar with the fragrance community and their terminology. In a very general description, performance when it comes to fragrances mean how well it works, how well it's able to be smelt by people around you. If a fragrance doesn't perform well, you spray it and then it's gone. Fragrances are meant to be smelt after all, so if it's not pushing out far enough or lasting long enough, then that's a bit of an issue. This place is honestly gorgeous. Tauranga. I don't know how you pronounce it correctly. So getting on to our terminology, let's start with a pretty easy one. Longevity. What does longevity mean when it comes to fragrances? I mean, you can kind of figure it out by the word itself. Long. How long the fragrance lasts on you. Now, longevity can vary from person to person for many different reasons. First one being skin chemistry. Obviously, everyone's skin's different, it's composed differently, it has different smelling oils, so fragrances will perform differently person to person. Where longevity also can differ is our own perception, because to some people, you may go nose blind to a fragrance after about an hour, but if you ask someone else, they'll smell it after 6. The best way to figure out longevity on you is to just give it multiple wearings. Give a fragrance a chance to develop and perform under different circumstances, because your longevity can change with the same fragrance. Also, some people have different definitions of what true longevity is, whether it's how long you notice the fragrance on yourself, or for some people, it's how long it lasts on your skin. Now, when a fragrance becomes a skin scent or a fragrance that you can only smell up here, is it still performing? Depends on who you ask. I'd say yes, but anyway, maybe I shouldn't be standing on the edge right now because it's pretty far down there, right? So, yikes. Oh! Whoa! I'm just kidding, I didn't fall. The next term we're going to talk about is projection. Another fairly simple term for my viewers out there, but for the newer people, projection when it comes to fragrances talks about how much the fragrance pushes out off of your skin. Kind of like a projector from school where it projects an image onto a screen. You want to project your scent to the world around you. Now, projection is one of those fragrance characteristics that can be hard to really figure out for yourself, because a lot of the times you can't really smell how far a fragrance goes, which is hard for a reviewer like me, because I have to ask others around me all the time, seeing if my fragrance still smells at certain distances. Honestly, you can't really get too scientific with it because there is so much variability when it comes to fragrances. How you apply it, where you apply it, if people are touching you and rubbing the fragrance off of you, So many factors involved. So if you thought longevity was hard to really figure out in a fragrance, projection is even harder. You gotta factor in all the application stuff. You gotta factor in olfactory fatigue when your nose kind of just starts ignoring the fragrance on you. That being said, when we say projection, we're talking about how much that fragrance pushes out and for how long in a lot of cases. Longevity and projection, they can be kind of independent things too, because your projection can go right down to your skin and then it's pretty much gone, but the longevity can linger on. So that's something to think about. Next up we have is sillage, or sillage as some people pronounce. This is one that you may not immediately know if you're not familiar with scents in general. And that's because sillage is about the scent trail that you leave behind you as you walk around. It has a little bit to do with projection because you are projecting, but it's more about how the fragrance lingers on in the air rather than how it radiates off of your skin. So there is a bit of a difference. Now, outside of the fragrance community, there are other professions that use this term sillage, most notably chefs. I talk to a lot of chefs, and whenever I wear my fragrance around them, they always talk about my sillage, even though they're not into fragrances. So it's kind of a nice little overlap. I guess the simplest way to judge your sillage is if you're going into a room and leaving, if you can still be smelt, you got a pretty strong sillage. If it just fades away with you, maybe it's a bit weaker. Concentration kind of plays a factor in regards to eau de parfum versus eau de toilette, where eau de parfum fragrances have a higher oil concentration, which means they are heavier and tend to linger a little bit more, but aren't necessarily as noticeable because the alcohol in fragrances is what pushes it out because it evaporates off of your skin faster. And a slight bonus term is scent cloud. Scent cloud is pretty much projection. It's just the overall radius around you in regards to how you smell when you're wearing a fragrance. So it's projection, but it's the projection that kind of follows you in a big bubble rather than just thinking of it in an arm's length or more or less kind of fashion. Hey, hope you like this video so far. If you haven't subscribed yet, maybe you should. And like the video if you're enjoying this so far. Hey guys, look who I have here. Friend. Nicola. When I say fragrance performance, what comes to mind? What do you think that means?
Well, performance to me as a dancer is how well I do something, performing.
Yeah.
So the word performance, just because you put the word fragrance in front of it, how well does your fragrance perform?
Perform how well it does its job. That is such a fantastic answer. What a smart cookie. That was a big seagull. So just to recap all this information for you guys, performance when it comes to a fragrance is no different than performance from a dancer. You gotta do your job well. Dancers are talented, but if you don't work hard, you won't succeed. And the same goes for fragrances. You can smell nice all you want, but if you can't smell the nice smell, then what's the point of wearing it in the first place? So fragrance performance comes down to longevity, projection, sillage, and a scent cloud, I guess. So essentially it's length, it's girth, and how long it lingers, how long it creeps around. Sounds a bit gross, but that's what it is. These have just been the rules, guys. They're not really rules, but they're pieces of information that could hopefully benefit you. I hope, because otherwise what's the point of this video, right? Jesus. Anyways, if you want to see more videos, more rules, or more opinions and rants, I have a lot of stuff on my channel, hundreds and hundreds of things for you to watch, so I hope you enjoy it. Catch you next time!